What were their intentions? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Amber. Today I have another video, and this one is going to tie into Valentine's Day. When you think of Valentine's Day, you often think of candy, flowers, anxiety because you don't know what to get your loved one or that special person you like, or you don't know exactly what kind of situation you have going on with someone. Maybe it's just a crush, maybe it's more, maybe you don't want to get that, maybe you don't want to scare them off and get too deep. So there could be a lot of confusing things going on. And while all of that is great and wonderful, and I encourage everyone to love and not to judge others by whom they love, with good things comes bad things. And I would like to take today to remember those that have lost their lives on this holiday or have gone missing. Now, there is about 3 cases that I would like to talk about today, and all of these individuals have a couple of things in common. They went missing on or right around Valentine's Day, and they were later found deceased. And sadly, there is not a clear conclusion as to what exactly went awry. Some of these cases have some theories and others are completely clueless. But I'd also like to take today to give these people a little bit of time and honor their memory. As with every true crime case that I cover, whether it be a missing persons case, whether it be an unsolved mystery or a cold case, whatever it is, I do so with the utmost respect. Also, I am not a professional journalist. I also have limited resources, but the information that I do gather, I gather from public information that is on the internet. If for some reason I cover a case and I am mistaken in my information, please correct me kindly in the comments down below, as well as your references as to where the accurate information is, because I would definitely love to correct myself if I have made a mistake. So with that being said, let's get into today's cases. Okay guys, so the first case that we are going to discuss today is that of Rene Anthony Castillo. Now, Mr. Castillo went missing on Valentine's Day 2019 after he left his place of work. According to the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, he passed away after his body was found about a week later after he was reported missing. So his body was found in the water in the area that separates the Alamitos Bay from the San Gabriel River. Authorities found Castillo's body after someone spotted it on February 21st, floating in the channel that separates Long Beach and Seal Beach. When a Seal Beach lifeguard got to Castillo near a jetty, rescuers realized that he was dead. Apparently, people had first thought that he was someone floating or just drowning, and he could have possibly been saved. Hours after his body was found, but before it was publicly identified, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department had posted on Facebook asking for help finding Castillo, who lived near Whittier. On that post, it had said that, quote, his loved ones had not seen or heard from him and they are very worried and asking for your help. The last time that anyone had seen Mr. Castillo alive was on Valentine's Day around 1:30 a.m. at his job in the 11,200 block of Hemlock Avenue in Fontana. Social media posts from family members said Castillo's car had been found abandoned in the La Romanda Santa Fe Springs area. Castillo was 30 years old at the time of his disappearance, and they did say his death was due to accidental drowning. But the question lies in, why was Mr. Castillo at this area to begin with? And why did he drown? What caused him to drown? It's not every day that a 30-year-old just drowns out of nowhere. At this point, there isn't any sign of foul play in Castillo's death, and sheriff and investigators have closed the missing persons case, Deputy Kimberly Alexander said. And Long Beach police have deferred any questions to the coroner's office. According to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, who have declined to comment further on this case, they did not provide any other details as to whether Castillo had gone swimming or fell in and accidentally drowned. There is not a lot about this case, and when I used to do the cases called Amber Alerts, where I would talk about smaller cases of children that had gone missing that are more current, some people were a little annoyed that there wasn't that much information, but I don't think that a person who passes away after mysteriously disappearing for a week deserves any less attention than that of a case that is very high profile and has a lot of media attention. The entire reason that cases get a ton of media attention to begin with is because people talk about it. So somebody has to start somewhere. And I guarantee you the family of this person cares a great deal about what happened to him. And I'm pretty sure people have more information about what happened to him, but because it's not a big case, and perhaps this person is not someone that there's a ton of interest in, you know, there isn't that much to go off of. So for a case that doesn't have a lot of answers, it seems to me that it's pretty suspicious, but apparently not that much for the police. I don't know. So the next case that I want to talk about in this video has quite a bit more information, and it was one that a lot of people were aware of, and there was quite a bit of people looking for this woman when she went missing. So on February 14th, 2015, on Valentine's Day, a woman named Erica Alonso went missing. So her and her on-again, off-again boyfriend left a very popular nightclub in Costa Mesa, and this nightclub is called Sutra Lounge, which is a modern, sleek club lit by the neon lights behind the bar. Just so you guys know, I am reading this article from Megan Crane Beal. I will leave it linked down below. Obviously, this is credited to her. She tells the story of what happened to Erica Alonso very beautifully. And crowded with drunk lovebirds, pulsating to the beat of music. VIPs were served bottles of champagne at plush lounge tables, while clubgoers squeezed into the tiny dance floor to make the most of their Saturday. But by the morning of February 15th, Erica Alonso had vanished, and her abandoned Honda Civic would be found 2 miles from her home, covered in dust, parking violation tickets, and her purse left inside. Her body would only be found 2 months later, discarded in the Cleveland National Forest. So at the time of her disappearance, she was 5'3", 110 pounds, long brown hair and brown eyes. She was born on March 26, 1987. And she had last been seen February 15th at 4 o'clock in the morning, but technically Valentine's Day, because the Valentine's Day night hadn't really concluded yet. Typically the next morning when she woke up, that's when the next day would be. The author says that she remembers seeing the Facebook missing poster circulating amongst her high school friends on Facebook. All of us sharing her smiling face, Erica Alonso, her name so familiar to all of us. It was only 4 years after we had graduated from Laguna Hills High School, and I realized that I'd been a classmate of one of Erica's sisters. I'd never met Erica, but every time I looked at her photo, as we all shared between friends and family and coworkers, searching for answers for her family, I could feel my heart sink into my stomach. According to the author, Erica was generous, responsible, loving, bubbly, kind. She had dreams to go back to school. She wanted to find love. She wanted to get married and eventually have children. And she was not the type of person to just disappear without telling anybody. She wouldn't want to worry her friends or family in that manner. So everybody wanted to know, where had Erica gone? So apparently there was another couple at the Sutra Lounge that offered Erica and her date a ride. So they left the club at around 1:30 in the morning and continued the night at her date's home in Irvine, California. Erica and her date argued, which led the other couple to leave the residence at around 3:45 in the morning. So not long after that argument or disagreement, her date says that Erica got into her Honda Civic and left, and he hadn't seen or heard from her since. So her date for the night happened to be an ex-boyfriend, but he and Erica were allegedly working on rebuilding a friendship. They met earlier that day for a lunch date, maybe to go through the past and tie up loose ends. Maybe there was a discussion, coming to friendly terms and forgetting the fights and arguments and harsh words they had shared over the years. Whatever the reason was that they had met, it wasn't supposed to extend into the night. Erica had planned a night in with her sisters at home to watch, quote, cheesy movies together, basically have a girls' night and on Valentine's Day, which is what a lot of girlfriends and sisters do. Her family only knew that she was out when they checked her Snapchat story and saw her enjoying the night at the Sutra Lounge Club. So the man that purportedly shared this rocky relationship with Erica at one point was 45 years old, and he was the last person to see her alive. The couple that drove Erica and him home that night was cleared of any involvement in the disappearance, and Erica's date was considered cooperative by law enforcement. By all witness accounts, Erica had up and drove away with home as her destination, though she never did arrive. Time passed and there was no activity on Erica's credit cards. Her bank account was untouched. No calls were made from her cell phone. Her family held candlelight vigils at the community centers, praying and singing, looking into the night for answers. They offered a $5,000 reward for information regarding her whereabouts and her safe return. And her family was always urging anyone who knew anything whatsoever to come forward and please help their family find their missing loved one. Her sister, Leonora Gomez, said, quote, I want my sister to come back home. Her birthday is coming up and I want all of us to be together again. So on Wednesday, March 25th, deputies responded to a call that a car had been sitting 4 weeks. It had been a typical spring day in Aliso Viejo, near Cedar Brook and Redwood in the quiet neighborhood of Glenwood Park. Erica's 2014 Honda Civic had been sitting untouched, just under 2 miles away from her home where she lived with her parents. A resident had noticed the accumulated dust on the outside of the car, as well as 2 parking tickets left since it had been parked. They peered through the window and had an uneasy feeling when they spotted a stuffed animal and a purse inside. The following day, Erica's family waited for the sun to set to release dozens of red balloons into the air, her favorite color, to celebrate her birthday. Her car was found, but there were still no signs of Erica, and that year, she would have been 28 years old. The Ortega Highway runs through the Cleveland National Forest and lies about 30 miles from Irvine, where Erica was last seen. Thick with chaparral trees, the 460,000-acre forest was the site of 2 of the largest wildfires in California history, although it is still a popular camping, picnic, and hiking spot. Late in the evening on April 27th, 2015, a group of biologists from California were working in the forest when they stumbled upon a decomposing body. It was in the middle of a dry Rock Creek bed. Around 10 p.m., the Orange County Sheriff's Department responded and then set up a crime scene area. The footpath to where the body lay was too rugged and rough to navigate without daylight. They would have had to wait until the coroner could arrive in the morning. Upon hearing news from friends that investigators were near the forest, Erica's father arrived at the scene around 10:30 in the morning. Quote, I just hope it's not my daughter. I'm going to drive out there. I want to know. I want to find out. I want to find out. The body was transported to the coroner's office around 11 in the morning. Evidence from the scene was collected, but the OCD couldn't confirm a cause of death until an autopsy was officially completed. Erica, sadly, had finally been found. Her autopsy gave answers to questions that Erica's disappearance hadn't yet raised and left her family bewildered. Although friends and family were convinced that she was murdered, quote, there were no signs of obvious trauma to her body. The sheriff said had no idea how long her body had laid in the creek bed, exposed to the heat of the sun, the cool nights, or the appetite of animals, so there was no immediate cause of death apparent. Surrounded by hundreds of family and friends, Erica Alonso was laid to rest on May 8th, 2015. Although she was finally home, her family's fight for justice hadn't ended, it had only just begun. When the toxicology report finally came back, a release from the OCD on June 22nd, 2015, stated that Erica had died of a lethal combination of alcohol and an excessive amount of gamma hydrobutyric acid, GHB, which is commonly known as a date drug. But they stated that she died from an overdose and not a homicide. Her blood alcohol content was 0.22, which is 3 times the legal driving limit in the state of California. This, combined with the varying amounts of GHB in her system, caused Erica's death, according to the coroner. Known colloquially as the date drug, the presence of GHB probed investigators to examine her body for assault, but couldn't find any evidence that an assault had taken place. So her cause of death was officially charged from undetermined to overdose. According to the updated coroner's report, it says, based on the totality of the investigation, including interviews, evidence collection, autopsy, and toxicology results, investigators do not believe that Ms. Alonso was the victim of a homicide. They continue to pursue information regarding the circumstances that led to Ms. Alonso's death and her body being located off of the Ortega Highway. Lieutenant Jeff Halleck said, we don't believe it's a homicide, but we're not in a position to say for sure if it was an accident. If Erica wasn't murdered, why was her body dumped into the forest? Why was her car parked so close to home, but so far from where her body was discovered? She had too much alcohol and GHB in her system to live, let alone to drive. There had to have been somewhere out there that knew what had happened to Erica. Could someone have given GHB to Erica without her knowledge and encouraged her to drink throughout the night? Could that person who drugged her purposefully had given her one too many drinks? What were their intentions? If something had gone wrong, could that same person, instead of calling 911, be capable of driving over 30 miles away in the early morning to a remote area of woods to dump her body? After reports from, quote, friends began to circulate in the media that Erica had taken GHB recreationally in the past as a party drug, her sister made a passionate plea on social media. I want to make it clear, no, Erica was not perfect. She was just like every single one of you. But as her sister, I can tell you, to take GHB and the amount of alcohol, that was suicide. Erica would never have drunk like that, knowing GHB was in her system. How dare you judge her if you did not know her while she was alive? These so-called friends that are saying Erica would use or would have taken drugs are no friends of hers. If the mixture of substances Erica took that night wasn't intentional, she may have sipped a laced drink that had a slightly salty taste. With GHB in her system, Erica would have become drunker faster as the night wore on. With her slower central nervous system, she would have been more likely to fall or get into an accident. It would have been hard for her to control her movements, make decisions, and regulate her mood. As she overdosed on both substances, her body temperature would continue to lower. She may vomit or have seizures, may have lost consciousness, or become confused, and eventually this would result in her death. If the mixture was intentional and Erica overestimated how much her body could handle, those around her should have seen the serious signs. Surveillance camera footage shows that Erica was with her date at the Sutra Lounge along with another couple. And those same witnesses brought Erica home. They spent the last few hours of her life by her side. And the last person to see her alive was her date that night. And he has stated to authorities that he argued with her and watched her leave the house around 4 a.m. If Erica overdosed, she would have shown those symptoms. Why did no one call 911? Why did they let her leave the house that night? What were they afraid of? Despite the investigation being open and ongoing, few answers have been given to the public or the family. If anything positive can be taken from the loss of Erica Alonso, it is the induction of Erica's Law, a California bill sponsored by the state Senate by State Senator Janet Nguyen and signed by Governor Jerry Brown in July of 2017. Although Nguyen and Erica's family weren't successful in exacting stronger penalties against body dumpers, the final bill does extend a statute of limitations for cases where a body was dumped after an accidental overdose. Starting January of this past year, Erica's Law allows for charges to be filed for the concealment of an accidental death for up to 1 year after a suspect is identified by law enforcement, but extends the statute of limitations to 4 years after dumping the body. This gives investigators more time to pursue leads and convict suspects, which could bring justice for Erica and countless others in the future. If the people who left Erica alone in the forest in the early hours of February 15th, 2015 had called emergency personnel, Erica may have been alive today. If Erica was alive today, she would have just turned 30 years old and started a new decade of her life beside her sisters, father and aunts, and uncles and cousins. Her favorite color is red. Her family continues to grieve. But there has not been a single day since I have lost my beautiful daughter Erica that I haven't grieved for her. It hasn't gotten any easier. Anyone with information concerning the death of Erica Alonso is asked to call the Orange County Sheriff's Department Homicide Unit at 714-647-7055. or 714-647-7000. Anonymous tips may also be submitted to the Orange County Crime Stoppers at 855-TIP-OCCS or at crimestoppers.org. So the next case I want to talk about and bring a little bit of attention to is that of another person who went missing on February 14th, 2019, and that is of Jonathan John Rice. Jonathan John Rice was last seen leaving his place of employment in Chicago at a South Chicago Heights manufacturing facility at the end of his workday. After 4 days of hearing nothing from Rice, his family reported him missing to the Oak Lawn Police Department. Rice's 2006 blue Chevy Cobalt was found Friday in the parking garage at the Navy Pier. According to Oak Lawn Police, the car had a parking ticket on it dated February 14th, the day that Rice went missing. Oak Lawn and Chicago police are reviewing security video from the parking facility to determine if Rice was alone or with someone else. Rice was a 30-year-old male at the time of his disappearance, and he resides in an apartment in the 104,000 block of South Bernard Avenue in Oak Lawn. He is single and lives alone. There has been no phone contact with family or friends and no social media activity since he went missing. According to the Missing Persons Awareness Network, Rice passed through the I-294 toll plaza at 163rd Street, heading in a northbound direction from South Chicago Heights at 6:12 p.m. on Valentine's Day. The last phone activity was at 6:18 p.m., so 6 minutes later. Rice may have stopped off to have dinner, posted a photograph of his meal on Snapchat. His phone appears to have been shut off at 7:28. Rice, a reliable employee, did not show up to work the morning after he disappeared. Rice drives a blue 2006 Chevy Cobalt bearing an Illinois plate. So Oak Lawn police do say that he does not suffer from alcohol or substance abuse, and he has no known mental health issues that anybody is aware of. Hey guys, sorry I lost the following footage of the conclusion of his story, so I have screenshots. Okay guys, so that is going to be it for today's video that is about the mysterious disappearances of the following people that I spoke about and how they went missing on Valentine's Day and how we might not have all of the answers still to this day. So if you or anybody you know has any information regarding any of the individuals that I discussed in today's video, I will leave links down below in the description box that you can contact if you have any information by chance. If for some reason I don't have the proper number to contact, you can always contact your local non-emergency police department number and or whatever precinct the person went missing in. Again, I would like to extend my deepest condolences to the families and the victims of all of the people in these stories that I spoke about today and the cases that are solved and or unsolved. Please remember to always be cautious, you guys. Please remember to always, if you can, have your phone on you. Always inform someone of where you're going. Try not to get drunk or do drugs or whatever if you are not, first of all, of age. Second of all, don't do anything illegal. And third of all, try to make sure that you are always in the company of people that you trust and at home or somewhere safe. Don't ever get behind the wheel of a car while you are intoxicated in any capacity. It's simply not worth it. And just try to make smart decisions. Again, not everybody puts themselves in danger, and if you put yourself in danger, you certainly don't deserve to be hurt. But there are some things that we can try and do collectively as a community to try and keep everyone and ourselves safe. If you guys are interested, I did get some questions in a video that I posted, and that is on the shirt that I was wearing in this video. I was wearing the black version of this shirt. This is just another shirt from the collection that I have on my merchandise page on Teespring. It is linked down below if you're curious. It is there. I do have long sleeve shirts, tank tops, mugs, things like that. I will be putting out brand new merch very soon, but yeah, I got a lot of questions in my last video, so it is from my merch store. I do distress the shirts myself. It's pretty simple. If you guys want a tutorial on my second channel on how to distress t-shirts, I can certainly do that. Let me know in the comments below. Speaking of my second channel, I do have that. Right now it is following part of my pregnancy, so that will be also linked down below, as well as playlists to my other true crime cases on this channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you would like to, and that's pretty much it for today's video. Please remember to always be kind to yourself and others, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be very soon. Make sure your notifications are on and you are subscribed. I love you so much. Stay safe, and I will see you next time. Bye.